coming for Hillsboro. Hillsboro's our next hook, and we're coming with a vengeance. We got to. We're losing 2 points to Jeff every night, and he's been beating us, and we got to get on top of him. And we want to win this points race. We're going to Hillsboro with a vengeance to win up there.
All right, you got to love the emotion. It's what it's all about. Hope you enjoyed all the great action here from the Indy Super Bowl and the Speedco Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Toyota. This telecast has been produced by Lucas Oil Studios. For Crash Gladys and Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. We'll see you next time when we go tractor and truck pulling with a Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.
Fairgrounds at Henry, Illinois. Excellent livestock, amazing food, and incredible machinery. Check out this car show, the new and the old. They feature it all right here, but what we're set to do is give you the best pullers in the world. It's the 12th annual America's Pull right now.
Welcome to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour. This is the Illinois Nationals presented by Rockstar Energy Drink. You're watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here to call all the action for you. Of course, Crash Gladys will also help us out. This is one of the big pulls on the tour.
And coming off event in Concord, North Carolina, that Carolina clay down there, very different dirt for these guys out here in the Midwest. It's what they're used to. They really like it out here, and it always proves to be a very powerful track.
We'll have two different categories we'll cover here today. The Super Mods are in the house. We'll also have the Pro Stockers as we take a look at the points here for the Super Mods. Takes a lick and is on top. 46 points at Concord, the first pull, 50 at the second. That is a win. So a third and a win right off the bat gets it done. And then, of course, the Funny Farmall actually won the first pull out of the gate. Speaking of the Funny Farmall, there he is right there. Ken Vinny is backing up. Tough guy. And unfortunately for him, actually struggled a little bit last year in the middle of the season.
Had some difficulties, right there about the midpoint of the season with some mechanical breakage, but he's back together. Those motors got freshened up over the winter. Brand new motors on the tractor, and proved that they are winning machines in that pull in Concord, North Carolina. And you can see very concentrated on the track, watching Rona, his wife, back him up there as he's inside of that tight roll cage.
Absolutely. The tractor looks awesome as always. Nice and slow, controlled, back up, and then, of course, they hook up that huge chain.
Well, it's just amazing. That hook itself weighs like 25 pounds. That chain's almost as big as your arm, and you got to have it when you're hauling that heavy sled down the track. Look at that beautiful front end up, getting that good transfer weight as he pulls it down the track.
Well, I tell you what, he is on his game this year right off the bat. And again, a very strong effort here, 3:16.09. Of course, he has the option to drop here, but can't imagine he's going to do that with this one.
Anytime you get out past 300 feet, these guys have to consider just keeping it. 300 feet, the traditional full pull market. Anytime you get out there, just look at that. Lifts right off of the get-go. Great torque. That front wheels are 12 to 18 inches off the ground, just like you want it. And he gets good transfer weight and a good distance.
And by the way, the track looks spectacular.
When you kind of want that nice little gloss on top of it, that means it's nice and packed down tight. That means you got a lot of moisture in the track that can come up to the top of the surface, which gives them great bite on the pulling surface, which means that, hey, it's going to be a power track out here in Henry, Illinois.
Well, the next man pulling up is your reigning champion inside of the category. No doubt was hoping for a little better start than he got here at the first couple of pulls, but we had a chance to talk to Bill Leisure because he's flying some new colors this year. No doubt he's very proud of that. He's hoping he can win them a championship.
Oh, Rockstar Energy Drink just brings so much to the table, and it just livened everybody up. It just so the energy from the drink is nothing to say about what it's done to our team. And even Brian Knox from Sassy Engines is really on board with the Rockstar Energy Drink, and it just everybody comes up and compliments us on the new look, and we've always been red and candy apple red, and they compliment us on the way the tractor looks with Rockstar Energy Drink all over it.
Well, it definitely has a new flair to it, and he's right. I mean, it does. It brings about a new energy and confidence to the team.
And he mentioned a key name there in Brian Knox. After winning the championship last year, Bill Leishner decides that he's going to switch from Aries blocks on those Hemis, and he's going to go over to Sassy Motors. So that could be a tribute to why he didn't do so well in Concord.
And something falling off there right at the very end. It's kind of difficult to see what it was, but 3:13.03, another solid effort here, but that won't be enough to win tonight.
And you can see the inner workings of the sled and how it slows these guys down at the end of the run. When that box tops off, we're talking about upwards of 200,000 pounds right on the hitching point of the machine.
The fuel filter caps came off.
So that is what we saw fall off of the tractor on the way down through on that particular pull. Well, one of the characters inside of the category is LD Nation. And LD Nation is always a tough competitor. He's a seasoned veteran, to say the least. And you got to ask him what he thinks about the track as he takes a look at it.
Two-time event winner, LD Nation. LD, you've been on the starting line here, and you've seen two tractors go down. We know there's a bit of an issue mid-track with the hole. Are you satisfied with what you've seen, and what changes will you make to your tractor?
Well, I'm not sure yet. We had good luck. We won here the last 2 years. And I believe the track's quite a little bit softer than it was before, so we'll probably run the front of our tractor a little bit lighter than normal. Hopefully it'll work. That's something you never know till you get done. But I believe it won't take quite as much weight on the front this time. That's what we're going to go for.
And again, LD Nation referring to those meticulous notes that these pullers keep. You know, they won the last couple of years. They look at the weight setup on the vehicle. You know, they look at the gearing. They look at how they set up the tractor in order to set it for, you know, this particular event, which occurs right around the same time every year. So they can refer back to those notes. But, of course, the track is going to be different each time.
Ron Bargy is hooked up to the sled. The name of the tractor, the Apache.
And you can see that he's got 400 pounds, 4 of those weights on the front end, and that's what's going to try to balance the tractor out. But it doesn't help him that he had that slight bounce right out of the hole.
Yeah, he's just struggling all the way along. He has surpassed the 100-foot mark, which means the pole will stand. Unfortunately for him, he's in trouble there. There's your General Tire Top 3. The Funny Farm All leads the group. This telecast is brought to you by Rockstar Energy Drink. Party like a rock star. E3 Spark Plugs with Diamond Fire technology. And by General Tire. Unleash the fury. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is brought to you by R&L Carriers. One call, one carrier. We'll continue on here. This is the super modified category. Pole number 3 on the tour.
Ed Boyer backing up the Super Stallion.
And another turbine-powered tractor here. Not uncommon to see a little bit of fuel underneath these things from time to time.
A very unique mixture of kerosene and gasoline is what powers these aircraft engines on the track.
Solid effort out of the Super Stallion as well. A little bit of a wild ride there towards the end. Pulled him off to the right, but will end up right at 300.30 feet.
It's just amazing with these aircraft engines, you know, what they have out there, the wheel speed that they can get and the power that they can immediately pour into the track off the starting line.
What's up, Craig? Yeah, it'll be 320 or a floater, so they'll all go to the trailer.
And what's he talking about there, Leslie? 320 or a floater, obviously talking about the finish line.
And they can decide where they're going to set that full pull mark. You know, traditionally the full pull mark always at 300 feet, but with the new rules with the Lucas Oil Propylene League, they can say 300, 310, 320, or they can float it out by there because these guys are making so much horsepower. They're hooking it up so hard to the track that it's really hard for the sled operators to stop them at the 300-foot mark. So they put that rule into the books for that process so that they don't have guys out here running their machines into the ground, running them 2 and 3 times each night.
And again, we see a turbine-powered tractor. This one called the Turbulent Toy for the former tank driver.
Tim Howe out of the Roberts Pulling Stables. And, you know, this thing usually gives him a turbulent ride as well.
Front end way up in the air, maybe even too high. And it looks like it's going to reflect in his results as well at 234.56. Well short of the mark needed to win here tonight.
And that's what we're talking about with these turbines. They hook up so hard, so early. It actually works to Tim Howell's disadvantage because he gets the front end up early. It comes down. He has to use more power to bring it back up.
Oh, Big John pushing him up out of the way.
Yeah. Look at that. 234.56. Good, probably 18, 20 inches right there down in the ground. I just 12 to 16. He hit that brake. The left tire dug in real hard right there.
All right, let's talk about the distance that they'll be pulling here tonight.
We can take a good look at our super clean track tonight. The funny farm all right out of the gate as the test puller goes 316.09. The dirt slinger not far behind, but everybody else kind of struggling to keep up.
And, of course, we'll check in with Big John Mears because ultimately he will be the man that makes that decision. And I will tell you, there's a lot of times he just doesn't like to have to do it.
This is where you need like a vote from home on a website deal. Who wants to have a pull-off or not, you know? Do you want to float the finish or do you want to make it a 320 full pull line? Let the crowd decide or the people at home.
So there you go. I mean, it is a big decision, and he pretty much bases it off of what he's seen off of those 5 previous tractors. And, you know, it's a thankless job, you know. He could call it perfect or he could be wrong.
And it's totally an educated guess because you don't know who's going to perform well on each track and who's not. You can go by previous experiences, but you just don't know night in and night out. And here you've got the Bunnages with the Takes a Lickin' machine coming off of 1st and 3rd out of Concord, the first ever win for the team. And you know that they're supercharged and amped up for this event as they come in with the points lead.
Sailing down through there. It sounded like he lost an engine right along the way. You could hear the RPMs change drastically as it pulled it down. So a tough job for our points leader here tonight.
You see the sparks out of the bottom of that back left clutch. This back left is sparking pretty good underneath it.
So John noticing some sparks out of that back power plant, or actually out of the clutch cam. And issues right there. Of course, obviously, whenever that happens, you can see the sparks right there. You're going to lose some power out of one of those power plants, maybe even 2 of them.
It's over here. Which one did I say when I got to you? That one, the back left. Yeah. Sparks were at the bottom of that left clutch when it was coming down. It was popping the wheelie. That's not good because it almost acted like it was only running on 3 motors and not 4.
And he was off to a great start, too. Looked like he was going to sling the tires right off of that thing. Well, when we come back, we'll continue on with the super modified tractors here. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour. Stay with us. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is brought to you by MagnaFlow. The first thing you hear, the last thing you see. Number of tractors already out here so far, pulling tonight. Next one up will be the Indian Outlaw. We heard from LD Nation a little bit earlier in the show, and now he's behind the wheel.
And he said he was going to take some of that weight and put it on the front of the tractor. He won here last year, but he's talking about, of course, his 4 Aces machine. This Speedco Indian Outlaw is brand new for this season. You know, LD Nation, a longtime veteran with the turbines, got away from it last year, went to the reciprocating motors, and now he's back with these amazing 2 D11s, and, of course, this beautiful-looking Speedco Indian Outlaw machine.
You can also see the GoPro camera up there mounted on top of the roll cage.
Intently watching those gauges to bring those RPMs up to that perfect point before he starts to take off.
On those big rear tires squatting and now digging in, and he's going to miss the mark as well at 274. It looked like a pretty good effort there, but a lot of tire spin right off the bat.
And that's due to the fact that these super modified tractors only have 1 gear, so it's driving style. It's how much throttle you apply right off the starting line. And they have to apply a lot in order to get that heavy sled moving. You can see that there are 7 weights in that box, 14,000 pounds, and that turbulent ride is what the sled operator experiences each time down the track.
Pretty wild stuff, to say the least. And, of course, they groom the track after every pull as well. You can see the support equipment out there. Guys are very good at what they do and very quick, I might add.
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes is all it takes to groom the track for the next competitor. You know, it's all about grading and scraping and packing that dirt back down and try to create the same pulling surface for each competitor throughout the night, which is a very tough job.
The down and dirty is up next. You can see him building pressure in the brakes as well. Left foot brake, right foot brake, and the funny farmall still your leader at 316.09.
And Michael Stewart's big focus seems to be on just keeping the tractor straight. You know, if he can keep it between the white lines, there's nothing that these Hemis can't do, and he could take over the lead.
Well, these guys are beating some stuff up out here tonight.
And that's what happens when you get in the Midwest and you get into these power tracks. And, you know, these tracks, if they were to put crops in them, would yield great numbers. We're talking in excess of 200 bushels per acre. And just look at that carnage on the down and dirty machine.
Oh, yeah. He grenaded one right there. That looked like a rod bearing underneath there laying on the track and parts of the block. So he grenaded one. We'll take another look at it. Keep your eyes on the bottom right-hand side of your screen as you look at it.
Oh, there it goes. Everywhere.
Yeah, and he is still in the throttle, so that's what continued the damage. Obviously, they're going to keep going. The other three are still driving, so it doesn't just give up, and that one proceeded to destroy itself.
And one thing that you don't realize as you're watching the sport of truck and tractor pulling is all this happens so fast, and you've got to react to it inside of the roll cage. And sometimes there's just not enough time to react. You know, you may hear a change in the motor, but you don't have enough time to get out of the throttle in order to prevent some of that, you know, even more damage that can occur.
Well, the next tractor is called the Texas Bullwhip, and as you can see, it's a beautiful piece. A couple of automotive-style engines opposing each other, and then the industrial-style power plant up in the front of it with not one, not two, but yes, 3 different turbochargers on that front power plant. And probably the most unique thing about this one is there's 2 different sets of RPMs for those engines, so it's pretty amazing, actually.
You've got to bring the boost pressure up on the DT466 out front while you're building the RPMs, then you got to let it all go at the clutch at the same time. And you know, he does it very well here with this bullwhip machine.
And you can see the exhaust header going into that front power plant was glowing red. The turbocharger stuffing some heat and air inside of that one. And actually, the turbocharger just spooling down right there. You can kind of see that front wheel of the Texas Bullwhip. The 295.17 again will be a little short.
You know, it seems as the class goes on that these guys are having a hard time, you know, finding a good spot on the track and finding a good combination to get out there and chase down that funny farmall machine.
We will continue on. Next up is the Dirt Challenger. Of course, we saw Bill Leischner up here a little bit earlier. This is his son.
And Shannon, of course, works in conjunction with Race Pack data systems, and a lot of these vehicles out here on the track have those data systems so that they can go back to the trailer after their run and dissect all of that information and find out how every component of their machine was performing, you know, so that they can come back the next night and do it better or go to the next event and make some changes to increase their performance. These big 30.5 tires pushing a lot of dirt back up on that buckboard of the sled.
And the distance here, 236.88. And you call this a power track, and you can actually hear these guys run down through here. The RPMs change as they really get loaded up. You talk about that transfer box pulling forward. Right there, it starts putting all the pressure on the pan, and, man, it pulls these guys down hardcore. So Big John Muir is taking a look at that particular tractor as they unhook, and Shannon pulls away back into the pits. The General Tire Top 3 still has the funny farmall on top. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is brought to you by Geico Power Sports. Insurance for all things that move you. Well, if you like wild-looking tractors, nothing out there any wilder than this one. It is a thing of beauty, plenty of colors, but more importantly, just the design of the tractor alone is nothing short of exceptional. It is a piece of art. I mean, it really is gorgeous. As LD Nation pulls out tractor number 2.
That beautiful wedge-style chassis on the 4 Aces machine. And you can see he's got those 4 automotive reciprocating engines. Not a lot of movable weight, but you can see that he did move a little bit forward. He did that with the Speedco Indian Outlaw as well. And, you know, he's got the power plans to get it done on this track. 4 of those big, bad Brad Anderson Hemis, you know, they've proven themselves on the drag strip, and they're becoming even more popular here with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. And it's nothing better than seeing those tires squat right off the line.
Man, and it pulled that one down as well. 277.92. That is incredible. When you think about how much horsepower is on that tractor and to watch it get lugged down, absolutely amazing.
10,000 horsepower unleashing right off the line. You can see he's full throttle. The butterflies on those injector hats are wide open. Amazing amounts of torque. That wedge-style chassis is built to take that abuse, but you don't usually see that kind of torque out of these machines. You know with the torque that he's creating a lot of horsepower.
And they'll get him unhooked, of course, again, and cleared and pull him out of the way. A lot of communication there between the track workers, and we'll continue on.
Jamie Austin, the Predator machine, one of the few in the category, actually the only one that runs Chevy power. And, you know, you can see that he's got his injector hat set up a little differently, and he's got those motors set up outboardly. And the way that these guys make everything work is they run all 4 of those engines into a gearbox, which transfers that power into the rear end so that they don't lose, you know, a lot of that horsepower down the track.
Boy, the front end up on that one. Everything looking good all the way down through there. 275.77, and there's no question, man, this track has changed since the first couple of tractors have come out.
It definitely has, and you can see Jamie Austin starting on the right side of the track, getting pulled over